This is Jared Poland for Frono's Photo, and this is tips for getting better baseball photos. Enjoy. Alright, I'm sitting down here. So, we've set our ISO now, and I want to show you another mode that is in the camera. We started with the A, which was aperture priority, and that means you set your aperture to the widest setting that it will open, and the camera will set the shutter speed. But we know we want to stay above 500th of a second, so what can we do with the shutter speed in shutter priority mode? And what is shutter priority? So, if you set it on the S, you now set the shutter speed that you want it to be, and the camera will set the aperture. So if you know you don't want to drop it below 500th of a second, you put in 500th of a second. So let's do that right now, and I'll see what happens. This is the D3000 with the 70 to 200, 2.8, and I'm going to make sure that it stays at 5.6, and I won't go any lower than that. So right now, I am looking in the bright daylight, and it's telling me 1/1250th of a second. So, you know, above 1,000th of a second at 5.6. That's really fast. So I'm going to set the shutter speed, let's set it at 1,000th of a second. At 1,000th, it's telling me that the aperture is 6.3. Plenty fast, plenty of room to grow, and that's at 200 ISO, so it's really, really bright. So what's going to happen again in the lower light, as you start to lose light, you can bump it to 400. But in really, really bright daylight, you don't have to really worry too much about about losing light, because it's obviously bright daylight. So, shutter priority is a very good mode for this, because now you know, pause for the motorcycle. There goes the motorcycle. So now you know that you don't want to drop your shutter speed below a certain point. So when you're looking through the camera, if you're looking at it and it says like f8, f10, things like that, you don't need to have your aperture that high. That's going to give you a lot of depth, and you're not going to really compress the image and separate the subject of the image from the rest of it. So I just know that I can bump that. There we go. I mean, look at that. It's just unbelievable. So at 1,000th of a second, we're at 6.3. That's really good. So that's another mode to be in. Shutter priority mode outside is great for sports, because it takes a lot of the guesswork out of it, and just make sure that your shutter speed stays above where you want it. Okay, so that should be pretty simple. I hope that works. So that's another little tip for shooting baseball and outside sports.